Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Okay, Tony Gilroy, as well as Diego Luna, Kathleen Kennedy, they were all at the UK sneak peek event of Lucasfilm's Andor Season 2 in London. And we have some information coming out of there that I find interesting.
Well, we watched the panel that was on YouTube. I'll try to put a link in the description
Yeah,
below
there
if
was
I
like a
remember.
20-minute
Yeah, like a
panel.
20
It was,
minute
it was
panel.
pretty interesting to
Yeah, it's
watch.
alright, yeah.
But also, he was asked after the fact, walking out of there, it looks like somebody kind of quick asked him a question about
Ambushed him.
Yeah, about how Tony Gilroy had said recently about Star Wars genre jumping in a way, doing more than just space opera, like Andor kind of does more political thriller, and how he had said that he could see it being like a sitcom or a horror, and his response to him being asked about that was, "Yeah, they're doing that. I think they're doing that. I think that's in the works. Yeah." In reference to Star Wars horror.
I don't think he was supposed to say that, if it's true. I mean, does
What does
he...
he care? His project is done.
I mean,
He can say what he wants.
I'm sure he's still under NDAs, but I would imagine I don't know that he would know that for sure. Maybe he threw some ideas out there, and Kennedy and others were like, yeah, we could do that.
It's
And
interesting, though.
it is, if it's true, and I'm not saying he's lying. I don't know that he would have that information necessarily, even unless he
True.
was somehow a part of it. I don't know. It's interesting. I'll
It
give it
is
that.
interesting. Or maybe him saying it in the first place came from insider knowledge.
It could be. I mean, he may very well know. I'm not saying he wouldn't know. I'm
Hmm.
just saying I don't know that he would automatically know. It's not like he is part of Lucasfilm. He's kind of now moving on from that, for better
Yes,
or
as far
worse.
as we know.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's
Unless
kind
they
of said,
lured him back in.
I mean, maybe, but he even said he's kind of down to
Got other
move on.
things he wants to do.
Yeah.
All right, but at this Q&A panel, there were some other things discussed that I found interesting. Not only Tony Gilroy, but Diego Luna, as well as Kathleen Kennedy. Some of them said that a lot of the success of Andor in general, especially season 2, is knowing where the show ends. That's like a huge advantage to making the show. Knowing where your characters have to be at, knowing where their starting point is in Rogue One means you know where you have to go.
Like, I could see that being an advantage and a disadvantage. I think
Hmm.
I've talked a lot on my channel about the prequel problem, where sometimes you got a story you want to tell, and I think it's the longer it goes on, the harder it gets. Sometimes because you're going in all kinds of different directions you didn't even know you were gonna
Mm-hmm.
head in when you set out. But you have that definitive endpoint that everything has to align with, and I think that can be frustrating. But it also can be comforting, I suppose, as well. That you like, okay, I know where I'm going at the very least. So I can see it both ways, and that's just from my experience writing, which is not on the level of a Tony Gilroy,
No,
but
not quite.
I've done a bit of it.
Interestingly, Kennedy commented about how Tony has written like 24 hours of the rebellion. And I think she's implying that each episode is about an hour,
Yeah,
but he has written almost, he's
yeah.
got at least 20 hours, right?
I mean, I would imagine when you do editing and all of that, if you would keep it all in there, it's probably even longer than that in
Mm.
theory. But yeah, he's given us a day of Star Wars.
I
He can give us a couple more, that'd be fine, like a whole week, but whatever.
love any time that Diego Luna starts talking because you can just watching him, you can tell how much he genuinely loves the project. He's always smiling,
Yeah.
he's very into it, he's thanking all the people involved, he's thanking the fans. He loves what he did.
Oh yeah, he's a big Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been one of my favorites because every time he talks, like you sense the passion in him. Like he's doing this not for any reason other than, I mean, yeah, he likes getting paid, I'm sure, but the main reason seems to be a love of Star Wars, and he loves giving something to the fans too.
Right. He talks about how this show tells you more about what's behind the revolution. That yes, there's loss, yes, there's pain, the things you'd expect to see, but also that there is love and there is finding where you belong, a sense of
Yeah,
belonging within this thing, camaraderie, friendship. He's showing that the rebellion is more than just the pain.
there has to be things worth fighting for. Like, you don't just fight because you're oppressed. You fight because there are others you care about. There are other things you believe in beyond just, oh, the Empire is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, the Empire is bad, but there has to be personal stakes as well, I think.
So do you win by protecting what you love?
Jeez, we're not
I'm
fighting.
not even gonna get the quote right because I
No,
don't
no,
want
I
to.
can't get it right.
I
Like,
don't want to
that's
get
how
the
we're
quote
gonna
right.
win. Not by fighting what we hate, but by saving what we love. I think
So
I got it. I
it's
think I
it's
got it
similar. It's
close. Yeah.
close. One thing I really loved is Tony talked about how terrified he was that the audience won't pay attention. that he craves our attention. Everything he does is for the audience's attention. He wants 12 hours of our attention.
I know how he feels, like, because every time I make a video, I get that. I mean, not exactly, but I'm not trying to, again, put myself on his level, but we have certainly made more than 12 hours of content that we ask people to watch. And every time I make a video, I always remind myself, like, I am literally asking people to give up their 10, 15 minutes of their life to listen to us. So I take that very seriously. So
Good.
that kind of resonated with me quite a bit.
That's nice
Again,
to hear.
not that I'm Tony Gilroy, but you do have, if you want to entertain people, you do have to remember you are asking them to literally give their time to you, and that there are
And time is valuable, yes.
literally millions of other options out there today that people could be watching or listening to or whatever. So it's always so cool when you see people, or people thank you for what you do, and like, wow, that's awesome.
Next, they kind of asked Diego Luna about the tone, and he kind of talked about how knowing the ending just, again, makes everything easier. It makes every single line his character says matter. What needs to happen to get Andor to the man who would give it all to the rebellion?
Yeah, because he doesn't start there, that's for sure. He starts looking for his sister and kills two guys kind of accidentally-ish because of them getting involved in his business first. But yeah, it's an interesting transformation, because you don't really know how you get from that selfish guy just doing his own thing to the guy who's like, I'm giving it all for the rebellion.
Exactly. He also, Diego Luna, commented on like Tony's writing, saying he doesn't judge. You get to know people on both sides, and they are real people.
That's one of the keys to it. It's like, even if you're not rooting for the Imperials, like, you understand them. They feel like real people. Like, Dedra feels like a real person, like somebody ambitious and just trying to climb the ladder at any cost, and who has this, singular focus of doing what she feels is right. Same with Cyril.
Yeah.
Same with all these characters. They feel like real people.
Gilroy says that attention to detail is the key. It keeps him honest. Kathleen Kennedy went on to say that Star Wars had never been on television pre-streaming.
I like that you made me pause
The
it.
Rebels and the Clone Wars mean nothing.
You were like, pause it for a second. I'm like, why? Like, she just said Star Wars hadn't been on television before. And I'm like,
Maya.
I don't think she meant like a disrespect to the Clone Wars. I think she was meaning live action, because they talked about how this was actually something they came up with right when Disney Plus was new, actually before Disney Plus even started. If I remember right, this was announced like in 2018, and that's before Mandalorian or the premiere of Disney Plus and all that.
Yeah, she talks about how long-form storytelling was kind of completely new. Yeah, she says that this long form helps us to get to know the characters and develop them. So even she's kind of acknowledging that character development seems to be important.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, holy cow. But yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. She's right. It's an obvious thing to say, but I'm not trying to be mean to her. But yeah, obviously, if you have 24 hours of a show, that is more than 7 hours of 3 movies, right? I mean, it's a lot more. It's a lot of time to get to know more characters and to know them much better.
And this I thought was really cool. Tony talked about how they asked him about how he found out about the reception, how Andor was going. And he said he had no idea what would happen when this came out. There were no test screenings, there's no focus groups, because it's Star Wars. Everything is kept as secret as possible. COVID was going on, so nobody got to see any of this thing before it was released. And then he says when it was released, he was stalking social media. He was on the YouTube, he was on Instagram, he's on what was Twitter at the time, looking around to see how are people perceiving my show. He said he absolutely loved that people were really digging into the show week after week. He said things that he thought would take people maybe the 4th showing to watch. He's watching these groups get into deep debates, talking about his show, things that he didn't think people would notice right away. He's watching them talk about it, discuss it, have conversations all around his show, and that it was really like endorsement for him going into season 2.
Yeah, I got my Andor shovel here. Like, I found as the season went on, because I remember like the first 3 episodes, I just did like a 1 review because they came out at the same time. I'm like, yeah, it was entertaining. It's not bad. It's got potential. And then as the episodes went on, I found myself every week, it's like I'm going deeper. Like, this is, it just gets better and better and better.
It does. And the more you pay attention, the more you're rewarded for it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's one of those shows that actually rewards your time, which is why when he says, I want to give you something that is worth your time, like, you did that because it's so fascinating and so much to really dig into.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time then. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us, did you watch this interview? And I, again, will try to remember to put that link in the description below. But either way, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.